My top 5 favorite directors. Every movie critic, every movie enthusiast, everyone who just likes movies has directors that they love and they admire, and they really go to all their movies. They're always talking about how great their films are, or just making excuses for even the films that they don't love, like M. Night Shyamalan and things like that. And I'm going to tell you right now, I also have those. But let's break down my top 5. Now, there may be some on here like Stanley Kubrick, Martin Scorsese, excuse me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, or Steven Spielberg. But for the most part, these are people that are not very well known, because I like creative people, and people like Steven Spielberg. They're creative, they made good movies, but most of their movies are the type of movies that a lot of filmmakers make now, and they're not that unique anymore. Stanley Kubrick, brilliant, visionary guy, but number one, I've not seen all of his movies, but I am inspired by the art he creates, but he's a genius, but he's just not up there. Martin Scorsese, same thing. So let's get into this. This is no particular order, but these are my favorite directors. The first one we're going to start with, I'm actually going to start reviewing these, is Nick Park. I'm going to start reviewing these shorts on the set. But Nick Park is my favorite director of all time. Well, not of all time, but one of my favorite directors of all time. Because he made A Grand Day Out. I was confused which one's A Grand Day Out. I know the story very clearly in my mind. It's this short about Wallace and Gromit going to space to get cheese, because the moon is made out of cheese. Simple short. It's made by, he did most of the animating himself. He did a lot of the work himself. It's just beautiful. He is a visionary director who makes such creative stop motion animated shorts. And stop motion is such a hard thing to do that the majority of people who make it are just people who love the craft. And you could tell Nick Park loves the craft. Him and Aardman came together to make some of the greatest stop motion films series ever made. Shaun the Sheep, Wallace and Gromit, just loved by millions. Just so many great things that he accomplished. And it all started with just one simple little short called A Grand Day Out, with 2 characters, a dog and a man named Wallace. So yeah, that's number 5. So number 4 is Wes Anderson. I've not seen every Wes Anderson movie. I've actually only seen 3. I've seen Moonrise Kingdom, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I've seen Isle of Dogs. All fantastic, great movies in themselves. They're the first movies that I've ever actually watched where I had to sit there and think and kind of decipher some of the themes and ideas being presented. Look at the cinematography and think, what is the director trying to say with the way he framed this shot? He's a very skilled, brilliant framing director. He knows how to frame a shot and make beautiful cinematography to make you go back and think, wow, that image is still in my mind. He is just such a brilliant visionary director. I have the utmost respect for this guy. Just such a brilliant mind. So number 3 is Burton. Tim Burton. At a very young age, I watched Nightmare Before Christmas. And at one point, he was my favorite director. I got really into stop motion and that type of creepy, darker animation. I started watching Coraline and Frankenweenie, and I was watching it. I I thought, this is amazing. This is some of the greatest stuff ever made. Then I watched Nightmare Before Christmas. And something hit. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to say Nightmare Before Christmas is not a Tim Burton movie. It's not. It's actually a Henry Selick movie. The same director of Nightmare Before Christmas actually directed Coraline. It is believed to be directed by Tim Burton by the majority of people, but that is just factually inaccurate. You are wrong. It says so in the credits of the movie. Enough said. But it is a film very inspired by Burton, and at the time I did not know this, and I was blown away. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. It is my second favorite movie. It is the movie that I have seen the most times out of any movie. I could probably quote you a lyric from just about any song. I could probably sing the songs up and down. Such a great, fantastic film. But then you realize Burton is this eccentric, strange guy who makes all these beautiful art pieces like Edward Scissorhands. Now I've officially seen all of his movies. And not all of them are good. But I have respect for the creative, visionary mind that this guy is. He was able to create this beautiful art form of telling stories through visuals, through creative designs and unique cinematography, music. Constantly working with Johnny Depp and Danny Elfman to create some really fantastic, unique, unlike any other films I've ever seen before. I don't like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I like the original version, but his version is so unique that I almost feel bad about comparing them. I don't like Corpse Bride, but yet it's so unique and different. There's not many films like it. You know, there's so much to his filmography. It's honestly insane. And so I have the utmost respect for this man. Now, my second favorite director of all time is Steven Spielberg. And I said it, one of these guys was going to be on this list. And of course, it had to be Steven Spielberg. Because I think Steven Spielberg is a director that inspires everyone at a young age. He inspires people to create art. He's created some of the best films ever made. Jaws, Jurassic Park, E.T. But he's also created great movies like AR, Artificial Intelligence, War of the Worlds that aren't recognized as much. And they may not be the greatest films of his filmography or greatest films in general. His film, in fact, War of the Worlds has a lot of problems, but there's something about the way he shoots a film and he directs. His films are beautiful, every single one of them. He's never made a bad-looking movie. He is a stunning director. He's made bad movies. He's not made bad-looking movies, but there's just something about the art and what he has done. So number one, this is a tough choice, honestly. It's a very tough choice, but I have to give it to Akira Kurosawa. If Wes Anderson was the first director to really make me think about art and what it means and thinking about stuff when I watched films like Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs, Akira Kurosawa was the first one to actually shove a freaking piece of art down my throat with his Seven Samurai. And I've never been the same since. I've grown appreciation for movies in different languages. I've never seen a film in another language before I watched Seven Samurai. Now I probably watch so many different movies in different languages. It gave me an appreciation for music and movies outside of my country that I live in. When studying and thinking about film as a whole, you cannot just go, I'm just going to watch the films in America, because they're not as good as some of these other movies that are made elsewhere. That, if I had never done this, I probably would never seen the Ring movies. I would have only seen the American version, which Both are pretty good and pretty great for the most part, but there's something about having that extra appreciation for something that brought us to the point where we are in American pop culture and showed us, hey, Akira Kurosawa, this is the guy who influenced Star Wars and other famous directors to make amazing films. Such a visionary, amazing director, deserves so much freaking respect. He's brilliant. He has amazing cinematography. He's an amazing director. He's just phenomenal. And you should watch Seven Samurai. You should watch all of his films. All of them are good. I've seen them all. I still need to get more of them on Criterion. But just having that respect for this man and what he did for me as a film lover, introducing me to films outside of my country, just fascinating.